Hey there everyone, I'd love to show you the new update for Sunset Gardens, which is this monkey rock slash castle and this very, let's say, old-fashioned goat rock. So let's jump straight into it in case you need to know what the zoo is like. This is across from the artificial grotto here, which is of course where the bears behind there live. And we've added some stuff. Just to show you, we have added a island right over here in the middle of this portion of the lake with this folly in the middle of it, and I just had to put a Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton in here because why wouldn't I? So when you cross the lake on this path, which isn't finished, you will get to see that to your right. Then we also added a big sort of boathouse, which is just for swans and geese and ducks. I will say they do spend a bit too much of their time in between these two areas. I actually would have liked for them to actually go here, but there's no reason for them to. So I might have to make some changes to make them traverse more terrain, because as you can tell at the moment they're just patrolling this area. Not a huge fan of how they do that. But let's go over here and approach the two new habitats. So, in case you don't remember, the zoo is built around an old estate, which was itself quite old at the time when it was turned into a bit of a menagerie. And then, yeah, this is the sort of historical heart of the zoo. As you can tell, right over there is the more planned garden. And right over here, the zoo becomes a bit more wild. This is meant to be more of an English garden style, which is more organic. Less strict, less geometric, and I tried to recreate that feel here, and it's a bit of a wild zone, and I like that a lot. This is less, this is more unkempt, less manicured than the other end, and that's deliberately meant to be two styles. And as you approach, I kind of ignored that, you see this funky little castle thing up there, and that is very much meant to be a 19th century artifact, which is when people really became fans of building things that were old, but they weren't old, right? Just as I did with this section here. This is meant to be like a folly, a castle, small in scale, that doesn't really have a use. So as we round this corner here, you can tell this is actually a monkey rock, a monkey island, which is another very classic old-fashioned zoo aspect. You still see it nowadays, but it's very much a trademark design of older zoos. I wonder where all the macaques are at the moment. The lion-tailed macaque lives here. They can traverse, as you can tell. They have a cave over here for them to hang out, but they do love to climb all the way up. There they are. Now they're appearing. They can get into that castle, play with some boxes. The traversable terrain, is actually pretty decent. I like the way these plants grow down towards the moat down here. I think also I like this barrier over here keeping the monkeys inside. But yeah, I had a lot of fun building this one. It's just a very simple concept, but I think it really works. Just had fun with combining a lot of different rock textures, even the pebbles over here. And then yeah, the twilight set really came together here to create this little fake castle, because of course it has no use beyond the purely ornamental. So across from here is this crazy little building. But of course there's two parts to this build. It's not going to be a crazy long video, but as we continue walking over here, you see this. And of course this is it looks like a bit of a ruin with a beautiful building next to it, but as you can tell, there's a markhor over here. And just to see what I've got cooking for them, let's follow them and approach the actual scene. This is what I assume is going to be a very controversial build in the zoo. This is the, well, so let's call it the Himalaya rock. This was very much meant to be like, this was built in 1930 and was seen as extremely modern back in the day. if you've been to zoos like I have, to some more old-fashioned zoos, European zoos, you will know this style, right? Just using concrete and these very much not organic shapes, sort of more as an art piece, right? This is meant to be, when it was built, a modern architectural marvel, pretty much. When it was built. Nowadays, this is very much old-fashioned. There's nothing natural about this, but I can imagine if you went to the zoo, to this zoo back in the day, this is sort of older. This was built before that one, right? I think this is a bit older, maybe even before the 1900. I'm not too sure, but this is, you know, this used to be a modern exhibit. At this point, the zoo will have progressed far beyond this look. But I still really love what I did here. It wasn't a crazy thing to build. I just built these blocks out of actually the temple wall decoration panel, but then just flipped over so you get the back of it. And then just placing these boxes in different configurations. This is something I took from Eben, actually. These faux rocks that actually have been damaged, revealing the structure from the inside. That is something Eben has been doing in this zoo of Ghent, and I just really like the look of this, and I just you know, that, but a direct nod to his technique there. But yeah, there's not really that much more to show than this. I really like the way it looks. It reminds me of older zoos that I've been to. It reminds me of, for example, the old, very old polar bear habitat that the Antwerp Zoo used to have. It's been torn down quite a while ago. And yeah, that is the way that looks. I love that all of it is traversable. They can use these staircases or they can jump. And yeah, I love the little arches back there and the little big weird tower, the ruins, the little suggested cave that they could get into. Of course, it's just a black plaster wall. And then the monkeys right over here. The moat continues, and then at this end, as this lovely lady is watching the geese, as you can tell, the border of the lake at this end is far more natural, far more naturalistic, deliberately so. And if you're wondering, the zoo continues over here, and let me just zoom out a little bit. First of all, so you can look at the lake a little bit more. As you can see, this is very much like a wall, fancy, high class, with this sort of botanical garden over here. This part of the zoo is older in a way, and deliberately kept like this, more of a garden feel. What will happen, this is a part of the path that will go around the lake with these lovely oak trees. I still have some work to do here, make it a bit more, you know, cohesive and detailed. But I am of the opinion that right over here-ish, I'm going to build a little sort of northern forest section with grizzly bear, with wolverine, with moose, that kind of animal. And then right over here is going to be a big Asian section around the lake. Those are the plans. I don't think I'm going to add much more to this more old-fashioned part. I believe this historical section of the zoo is enough, and I will probably not add that much more. But that is it. That is my quick little update for Sunset Gardens. I really like just the way it looks when you get down here, when you look around. Really the feel of verticality. Everywhere you look, there's something to see. It's at this point that the project really is coming alive, that you don't see the horizon at every point, but you're starting to see trees and buildings. And really like how Sunset Gardens is starting to look. I know that October is approaching fast, but I think I'll actually I'm going to try and keep this zoo humble and relatively small. Let's see if I can live up to that promise. But at this point, I'm just really hyped for what I've been building. So I'll see you very soon for a new upgrade on update. Why do I keep saying upgrade? It's kind of an upgrade as well, right? But a new update on Sunset Gardens. This has been Yelbu, signing off.